Ever wish that you could just press reset on your life? I've been there so many times. I've tried so many different processes, so many different systems. And all I can tell you is you have to be able to define your vision and define your process in order to be able to reset your life, get it on track, and stay in control. So this system that I'm going to share with you today is one that I've been using for the past probably 4 or 5 years. And I really am excited to share this with you because it has changed the way that I plan my life, the way I look at my life, the way I look at systems and routines, and all of the things that make us stay in control of what's most important to us and really accomplish and achieve our goals. What's up, Remarkables? It's your girl, Ashlee Tate, and you're watching The Social Life. If you're new to this channel, I'm a brand strategist that coaches change makers, entrepreneurs, and creatives on how to design a life and business that they love while managing it all. So on today's MIA, Managing It All Monday, I'm gonna be talking to you about a process that I use to reset my life. I use it about 4 times a year, and I love this process. That's why I wanna bring it to you today, because it has really changed the way that I'm able to stay disciplined enough to run 2 businesses, build a household with my husband, and manage 2 children, and do all the things. So the first thing I'm gonna talk to you about is how I set up my year. I set up my year so that the year is a continuous year, and I don't stop for New Year's. I don't stop for New Year's resolutions. I like to be off during that time, and I like to have already planned for that period of time so that we're already accomplishing those goals. They're already kind of in place. So I don't start each new year with a new goal. The way I start my year is I set it up with November as the start of my new year. And it's because it's a lull and we're about to go into the holidays and we're gonna be really focused on family. And if there's any goals that need to be done between November and January, that planning gets done early on in November, or the entire goal gets accomplished, and I don't put too much pressure on myself. So once November is complete, I work in the 90-day segments. So the next period is February, another 90 days, it's May, and then another 90 days, it's August, and then we're back to November. So that's how I set up my year. And I can talk about that a little deeper and why and all of that in another video. So before I do anything, I have to tell you guys that the most important piece of doing any sort of life planning, any sort of business planning, is really having a good understanding of your vision. You have got to know your vision so that everybody else can understand your vision. And I have a video on this already. It's called Your Vision Matters. So you can watch that one. And if you have not received my Design Your Life and Business workbook, I would go get that now too. That is also in the description box. And that's something that's really a good starter on how to develop your vision, how to develop your mission, all of those things, and really create a strategic plan for your life. And it is so incredibly helpful to know where you want to go, and then you can design your life according to where you want to go and what's important to you. So today I'm going to show you how to do the reset process. Now, the reset process actually stands for an acronym, and I'm going to walk through that acronym with you. And these are also the things that you would do in each of the 5 steps of the process. Now, I generally will do this each day. I will focus on a piece each day, and sometimes you can accomplish a couple more things on one of those days, or you run through it. But basically, I give myself the entire week of doing nothing else but really focusing on this so I can see from a bird's eye view what's going on with my goal setting and how things are going. Okay, guys, so let's start with R. R is all about reflection. Now, this will give you you're gonna step back and you're gonna really look at everything and pull way back, right? We're gonna take a bird's eye view of everything that's been going on over the last 12 weeks, how you were feeling, what was going on with your schedule, what you were able to accomplish and what you weren't, your original goals that you started with. All of those things are gonna be things that you're gonna take a look at during this period of time. After you've spent some time with R and you've taken the time to reflect, now you're gonna take a little bit of time to just evaluate. I want you to evaluate what was going on, how you were feeling during that time, what you could change if you were in control and you could just change up everything. And I want you to think about how it made you feel when you didn't do X. Like, I know if I don't have my smoothie every day, I know it makes me feel a little out of whack. right? And I know that if I don't work out, it's very hard to focus. If I am not working on something that's very important to me, I feel like I was not disciplined that day. So what are the things, how do these things make you feel when you either miss them or when you accomplish them or when they weren't able to get done? Like how are you feeling? And this is really where that part is focusing all on the evaluation aspect. We want to be able to take a look at our patterns, what created that pattern, and how we actually want to change that pattern, right, for the better, so that we can be better the next time we go into doing this next 90 days or next goal setting. So you may notice that a lot of people talk about 90 days, but not many people talk about the reset process. And I do think it's really important and such a key piece of being able to recalibrate yourself, readjust, and sort of reset your entire life so that you're ready to be ready for what's coming up. Now that we have reflected and we have evaluated, the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna set new goals. Now, this part is probably the most fun, for me at least. With that being said, I want you to now move into setting new goals. And when you set these new goals, we're talking about looking at your vision and figuring out, when you read through, what it really takes if you did the exercise the way it's supposed to be done. If you haven't, you can still start doing it now. But when you look at your vision and you look at what does it really take to get there, you should be able to find the next thing that will fit into the next 90 days and work from that as your next goal. So you're kind of looking at them as milestones. If you used the Design Your Life and Business, you would essentially be taking a milestone and you would be turning that into a 12-week goal. Okay, so once you get those 12-week goals set down, and I would probably say about 3 main goals are the key, because you only have a limited amount of time. I only have about 4 hours each day that I'm able to work on my specific personal goals without interruption. And then there are things that are going to happen in your home. You might want to have 2 or 3 things like that, and decide, depending on how much time you like to devote to your home or how much time you like to devote to specific things. The idea behind that is to work backwards from your goal. So like I said, you're taking your big vision, then you're moving it down to your milestone, and then you're working backwards from that milestone to see when it can get done in those 12 weeks. So during this reset process, what makes it so nice is that you always have a baseline established before you start the next 12 weeks or before you start your year or whatever you're looking for. So if you have a baseline goal, you're trying to figure out, where am I starting, and I want to see some progress in those 12 weeks. So that's why the next piece of this is examine. Now we want to take an examination of the metrics that are important to us. We want to look at, say you're trying to lose weight, you want to look at your weight, you want to look at maybe like measuring yourself to see where you're starting. Whatever the metric is that you're going to be watching over those next 12 weeks, that is what you need to focus on and you need to write down. So it's really important to take on that examination piece, just in case you are knocked off of your routine or you weren't able to do everything perfectly the entire time. You still have a metric that you can always come back to say, oh wow, I lost this many pounds, or I gained this much in muscle mass, or look at the inches if you're focused on, weight or whatever it is. And that is such a huge help, because when you're feeling like you are not doing well, or you're having a bad day, or you're having a rough time, a couple weeks even, it's nice to be able to go back, check your metrics that you started at, and then say, no, actually I have been doing well. I got knocked off for a couple of days and I'm gonna get back on it. And then at the end of the 12 weeks is when you will really judge what happened, right? Like how well you did or how well you didn't do. And really it comes down, the whole process really comes down to allowing yourself to see progress no matter what happens in your life. Because honestly, when you're managing it all, things are hard and things are going to be changing. I have a high schooler, I have a middle schooler, I've got dogs, I've got a husband. Like there's a lot of things going on in my life where I can't just singularly focus on, building a business only, or being in the best shape of my life, or whatever the things that are most important to you. You may not only have the time to focus on that. So if you're like me and you've got, little ones that you're taking care of, or you've got big ones that you're running around taking care of, it is nice to see that you yourself are making progress and how much progress you're actually making, even though sometimes you have to step away from the wheel and pay attention to something else for maybe a week or two or a few days or whatever the case. But those few days won't knock you off of all of the progress you've been making. And that's really the purpose of the reset process, is to really track the progress more so than track whether you did it or not each day. Like, I don't like those habit trackers because they never work for me. Just life is too busy. I can't stay consistent on every little single thing, but I can keep track of my metrics, and I can keep track of where I started and where I'm ending in 12 weeks. So really the goal is to see the progress. Now, the last piece of the reset process is really to take action. Now, what I mean by this is to take action by, writing it on your calendar. That is the most action that I can ask you to take, because if it's not on your calendar, it's likely not going to get done. So sometimes I will have on my calendar, like from 10 to 1 o'clock, it's all about deep work. It's all about writing and editing videos. It's all about writing newsletters. It's all about batching. It's all about getting ahead. And then 2 o'clock, I'm the mom Uber, right? And before 10 o'clock, it's, workout time and, get the house ready and things like that. So now that you have the baseline process of the reset process, what I want you to do is determine how you like to track things. And this is really where there's so much flexibility in this process. It's important to get these pieces down and to go through all of those 5 steps. But when you get to this next step of tracking, you can track by any method you'd like. I don't like to do daily trackers. That's not something that works for me. I'm not a big daily journaler, but I do have a place where I like to write down my thoughts and how I'm feeling, or if I'm having a lull, or if things get a little crazy in life, how I want to flesh that out and kind of process that. I have all of that. I have a place for that. But maybe you're somebody who wants to journal daily about your progress as you go along. That is totally okay, and that's awesome. And I like this process because it allows me the freedom to do it the way I want to. I've passed this process on to friends and family, and it seems to work for them as well. It's just a way to kind of keep you on course to your vision. And we all have to figure out our own way to come up with our goals and achieve the aspirations that we have for ourselves and design the life and business that we want. And this is really how you do it. You have to do it on purpose. You have to be planning and designing and building your life and your brand and your business and your family and all the things that you do on purpose. It has to be intentional. So I really hope that this planning helps you. This is how I do everything in my life. And it works. It's helpful. And honestly, I use a little calendar like this, and I write out my 13 weeks. I write out my 12 weeks. Mostly my work stuff goes in here. And then I use my phone for all of my family occasions, all of the things that I need to focus on with my family. If I need to share something with my husband or my kids or whatever, it all goes into the calendar. The rest of the stuff, just all the work stuff, goes into a paper calendar so I can actually see it every day, work with it every day, kind of, so if you're like me and you like paper, I had to kind of make that delineation between, I love paper, but it doesn't do enough for me when I am out and about, and I need to look at my calendar to make appointments and things like that. So all of my work stuff goes in one calendar, and all of my personal, events and things like that go into my phone. So I think it's important for us to kind of figure out how everybody does things so that you can come up with your own method. But I hope you will start to use the reset process no matter what other method you decide to use, because using that reflection point is really important. Keeping track of those metrics is really important, and knowing when you're going to go back and check those metrics is critical, okay? So that means that you're not checking your metric every single day. It means you're setting a time when you're gonna go back and you're gonna reflect. And until then, you're putting your life on autopilot so that you are in control and focused on the areas that you need to focus for the next 12 weeks. to accomplish the goals that are going to give you the future that you want. I hope that helps you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Now remember to get out there and unleash your something amazing, and of course, while managing it all. Bye guys.